Good morning. I'm here. Hi, Pete. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? And good morning to everybody else who's out. Oh, there's Scott. Hello, Scott. Thank you for the wave, Jeff. Okay. So we've got some more splurging today. So it was a good session yesterday. I was really pleased with doing a splurge and then splurging a whole solo, so that worked out really, really good. And then just for the hell of it, I ran it through Lander to master it so I could listen back to it later. So I'll be interested to see how that sounds in a couple of days' time. But what'll be interesting will be how all of these are processed. So there's a slightly different way that I'm approaching these tracks because I'm playing a live instrument. So there's a bit of a balancing act, really, between trying to keep yourself happy with the quality whilst not having a quality judgment on what you're doing, but more so trying to get as much information down as you possibly can, but being in some way kind of comfortable with what you're doing and not feeling like you're being careless and playing just like rubbish and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of a balancing act going on here, and it's a little bit of a kind of new direction for me, because normally, as you guys know, I love synths, but I'm really kind of going the hard line of live instruments today, mainly guitar, and faking my guitar to be a bass. So I do know people who are doing this, and the guy who coaches me is certainly he's singing now, although he does a couple of electronic instruments. And I know sort of one of the end results is the machine has a slightly different take in that you will kind of play these parts, these demo parts in a way, and you'll go through your splurge, you'll do your discovery, you'll do your drafting. Hi there, Graham. So we know, in drafting, we're kind of arranging the ideas, and then we're trying to, although it's still an additive process, you can still add things, but what we're trying to do is find out where the maximum tension release points are, and then we're trying to build from there some sort of a story, an arc, or in other words, just the full arrangement. And then once we have that, we can put it into done, and it remains there to have the decision made on it. Now, once I reckon I make the decision on whether I want to take something forward and release it potentially, in release, we're in a situation where normally what I'd be doing is pretty much mixing. There would be very minimal kind of adding parts and stuff like that, but I would say that the structure and everything is pretty much there. It's formalized. So all I have to do is do everything I need to do to connect it to the world, which is pretty much just doing the mixing and some additional production things that are very convergent in thinking, that I don't really necessarily do to save time, that aren't really that important in the earlier stages. So that's how. But with this, obviously, we've got things like the bass and the guitar bass now, which are great tools for me to quickly knock a tune up, being able to play two guitars and a bass at the same time and do a riff, like Royal Blood or something like that. is really good, and to be able to do 3 parts in one go is a time saver. But it's not necessarily the best quality, and I use quality, way of doing something. So there is a better way, which is more time consuming, which is actually just use a proper bass and just double track the guitars. So for example, in release, I know there's going to be a phase where I've wrote the bass obviously on guitar, is that I can replace that with groove bass or something like that, and at that point I'll be able to, in release, slightly develop the ideas on a micro level a little bit further, so little fills, stuff like that, make the bass parts more intricate, obviously play the guitars over the top, so that way you get a little bit more control, and it's going to sound, well, the bass is going to sound more detailed because it's a real recorded bass, isn't it? It's an excellent instrument, the groove bass. So that would be one example that I can think of. The other thing is, like, any parts that I think that need re-recording, that I'll re-record again. I think things like the solo, so for example, we've got a solo there, that's a great kind of splurge sort of idea, but as we sort of move through the machine and we get into drafting, and I think possibly in the drafting is where we're going to be looking at sort of doing the looking at the solo, or at least editing parts and making more of a blueprint, because there are times when I'm playing and I shouldn't be playing, and there's times when I'm not playing, I should be playing. So there's things to be going on there. So I think the first point of call is to make some sort of blueprint of where things go, and then record those in line with what we think the tension release is. So there seems to be an idea of how I can use a machine to do this, and it's an interesting one because this has sort of been inspired actually by someone who I'm actually coaching at the minute, who has a slightly different, not as strict DAW kind of setup. So this is a sort of take on, you know, how you can do that. And it's almost, for me, it's like a throwback to, you know, when I was a kid, and, you know, you would have, basically you would write the song in your room and tape recorder or 4-track, and then go to the band would rehearse that. We would kind of live that music a little bit, i.e. would play it in a rehearsal, you know, we would gig it, and then you would basically, when it came to release, you know, after the gigs and you saw audience reactions and people say, "Oh, I like that song," you know, you would record it, wouldn't you? That would be, the decision would be, the vibes are good, we all like playing this song, let's record it. And the recording process was completely the connection to the outside world, the whole thing, because the writing was done, you just had to record it. And I'm sure you guys know, who've been in bands, then there's all the excitement of the magic of the studio, where you would go down there, you'd hear your idea a lot more clearly, and then you'd have other ideas and you'd be able to add things. So that's just my early morning thought. So obviously, like, you know, template, there's a lot of mention about templates these days. Actually, I've been noticing them more and more as I'm talking about them on these lives. I think my mobile phone's listening to them and suggesting things to me to look at, but there's always some sort of kind of template thing that's going on YouTube, and I would honestly be very, very wary of this. Anybody who is, you know, thinking, right, you know what, I need to get the techno template, you know, and it's got everything that you possibly need by a producer who makes like techno, that you just fill in the gaps. It's like your music's a bit like filling a form out. You just fill the blocks in, and then like magic happens, and then it's all good, and you've got a track, and then you've got a music career. That's not like gonna happen, right? The best way that it happens is you start small, and you don't focus on any problems that you haven't had. You just focus on the problem that you've got at the time. So if it's your first template, you haven't had any problems. So best thing to do is to keep it small. All right, so because your problem will be being overwhelmed. And one of the things that you need to do to make music is early on, we need to be working fast and it needs to feel like a performance. We need to have zero focus on quality. We must be making music without any judgment. And those are the two really important things to do. Obviously, the third commandment in all of this is that you don't listen to it for at least 3 days, preferably 7 if you're new to this. And then finally, that everything you do, you keep and you don't delete, and you have some sort of system like the machine. If you come and get coached by me, that you can basically input all these ideas and track them. You see, the machine's a brilliant way of doing this because it takes all the worry out of everything that you're doing later on down the line, because you know where all of your music is and you know what stage of the creative process is. And you as an artist are then working, developing your creative muscles in the different sections of the machine, tracking along with the divergent and convergent thinking of creativity. This is my morning rant, by the way. Whilst I have my coffee. And my hair's a mess. I know when I turn to the side, it's going to look really bad. 2 seconds. Right, after that, I don't care. Thing about this, like the morning sessions, right? This is the cool phase of music, and bad hair is like part of that, isn't it? This is the reality, you know, that you're gonna make crap music and your hair's gonna look crap. But Scott's giving me the thumb up, so the hair's okay. Oh, I'm enjoying that coffee. So I hope that's a bit more clear on what I'm doing. Now, I did say, because, like, honestly, I've run out of titles to think of stuff. So yesterday was the MC Pro foot switch, which I did use and didn't explain anything about it. But it's the star of the show. This is what it looks like. There you go. So this. So I just detached it from my pedal board and I have it so I can face in it. This is really cool. So what I've got, the way I've got it set it up, you get them for about $500. So they're quite expensive for what they are, but you get these tiny little screens on it so you can see what you're doing. But when you look at the screen here, so can you see? So the way I've got it worked, right, you need like a software, is I've got left and right, so I can navigate the session view like this, but you have to make sure you clicked into a cell like that. If it's not highlighted, it won't work. So I can move about. Now, because this foot switch is really clever, you can program in key commands as well as MIDI controls. So what's happening here is when I go in a direction, it's unarming one track and arming the next track. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? And then what I've done is that one of the problem solves which I overlooked and went crashing into a live loop and then realised none of it worked and I had to stop what I was doing, was because of that, it was switching my mic off. So to keep the mic on, basically I've got solo safe on, and what solo safe does is just keeps this mic going whilst everyone else is on. At least I think it is. So there, for example, I've clicked off, so this isn't really working. It's not going to record into a slot unless I'm there. So you can go along like that, and you can go up and down. So you can record into a slot, very handy. What else have I got? And then I've got record. So when I'm recording, after 4 bars, this should switch off. And the thing that's doing that is this at the bottom. There you go. And then I can undo. And then it disappears. And that's really all the control you need. If I want to punch in and punch out, you can do that. There you go. And it'll just play you back in time at the earliest possible time. So that's really good. So that's what I should have shown everybody. But that's basically... Don't my head. That's basically what I'm doing. There. Have a close up. Can you see that? It's a bit blurred, doesn't it? Oh look, there. Really handy, that camera, isn't it? So that's the Morningstar. Thomas uses a couple of them, but like the older Morningstar 8. But I don't think they do. Well, yeah, they still do those ones, but that one's got colour. Because I need a bit of colour in my life, so I went for that. So that's my show and tell done. There's Scott. Wow. I know that technology these days, and I'm good looking. Ice King's here, brilliant. Pete Lockhart, so unbelievably cool. The Morningstar combined with your template has to be one of the best ways to track ideas quickly. I think so. It's definitely, it's definitely working, but part of that is just practicing with the thing, isn't it? So I'm glad I stumbled on it last week? So that's been great that I've kind of reactivated it all. But there is one thing that I've added. And I was just thinking about, because I haven't fully sorted out how we're going to kind of combine templates, because I've still, obviously, as we're going through the machine, I'm going to want to add some synths and stuff like that to do things. But what I was wanting to do was I was thinking about drums, right? So I'm not using any of the Slate stuff because I'm just getting rid of anything that I think's just not really performance required and just sticking with the bare essentials that I do think are important or potentially important. So one thing I've been really interested in is EXO drums, right? So EXO drums are absolutely brilliant, but there's one thing, it's not like a drawback, is when you use EXO, it's like everything you need just to do drums, right? You could pretty much mix your drums inside EXO to a point. I mean, it'd be a little bit fiddly because like everything's really small in the sliders, but actually it's really well sort of kitted out for just making things sound really good. And one of those things that it's got on it is I'll just show you. One of the things that it's got on it that's switched off is the output effect. So it has like a really good sort of crunchy saturation. Okay, and you do get some like reverbs and delays and stuff as well on a couple of auxiliaries that are built into the machine, which I don't use. And I think, part of that is to do with the reason I don't use them is more to do with the fact that like I'll use other drums and then they can't use those reverbs and delays, so I'm better off just using something for everything. But for this template, I'm not using any space, any reverb or anything on the drums, just keep them dry and cutting through. But one thing that's that I do is I have everything on multiple outs, and when you have everything on a multiple out, you can't use the saturation effects. Which can be important because one of the logic about using coloration tools is when we've got like absolutely tons of one-shot samples all coming from different studio setups, different keyboards, different whatever, right? You can be pulling kits out of different sample packs, and so they can sound like they're from completely different places. So fundamentally, you would want to give it some sort of coloration so everything sounds very, very similar. So I was wanting like a low latency, like no latency I should say, thing to color it cool that would be interesting to do that coloration. And I've potentially found something, because it's had my, and it's cheap as well, $15, right? And you can have this. But because like I'm old school, what's 250% look like? No, that's too big. 200%. Oh, it looks like a proper rack unit now. It's too big. Right. We can have that. Because I'm old school, I found this. So this is the RX950 Classic AD-DA converter. So I don't know if anybody can guess what they think this is probably emulating. Anybody know? Just a little. Don't feel like you have to answer. I just thought I'd ask a question. What do you think? What circuitry do you think this is modelling? A hi-hat? No. I've already got a hi-hat. It's in the drum machine. This is to do with coloration. Hard one. Oh, good. Nobody knows. This is great. Nobody's familiar with the colour scheme or the font that's being used. Well, I'll tell you a story of why I connect with this. It's an exciter. Well, you're getting close. It's exciting, even though it's only 4 knobs and a mono switch. SPX990. Yeah, that's close. So basically what it is the RX950. 950 is the giveaway. This is modelling the input-output circuitry of the Akai 950 sampler, which is the go-to sampler for Fatboy Slim, or was, but I'm sure now because he's got software he probably just uses this. So producers would swear by the sound of the 950. Now I didn't have a 950, but what I did have is I had the same setup as Liam Howlett from Prodigy, and I had 2 W30s, which if I remember rightly were like 12-bit samplers that were incredibly hard to use, but they sounded amazing. Like if you sampled, like it was absolute like crunchy heaven, sampling from vinyl records into it. Vinyl records into your W30 and then chopping things up, because like it didn't like use a computer for audio at all, so it was an utter like complete inspiration killer, you know, trying to, but it was fun, and things used to sound really punchy and like crazy. And there was all kinds of tricks, like this won't do that, but there was like lots of tricks you could do in the day. Like I used to like speed vinyl up and like sample one shots and then slow them down in the machine, and it would get, you know, it would just have this kind of really nice sort of like digital artifacts and stuff. So what a vinyl record is, please, it's a record on a turntable. And it crackles because there's a needle. That's it. Anyway, so but I had an Akai S2000, and then I bought, believe it or not, Howard Jones's S6000, which was fully expanded years and years ago. So yeah, because I missed those days, got a hold of one of these, didn't I? $15. Something like that, $15, and there I've got it. The circuitry, we've got the input gain, we've got the whatever audio bandwidth, filter and output, and I just kind of left it how it is for now, because basically when I bought it straight after yesterday's live, and then, you know, but we can have a look at what it does. So bandwidth. Very nice. Filter. Oh. That's really good. I'm getting nostalgic. And then obviously we can drive. So very good. So it's brilliant to fill it. Doesn't that sound great? So that's the latest thing. That's just to give some kind of coloration to the stuff I'm doing. So that was my latest sort of cheap, doesn't break the bank purchase. I can't remember the company who makes that though. Let's find out. Infonic. So, but we'll find some drums. Right, so this template here, Ice King, what stage? This is all from the beginning. This is, we're splurging with this. We're doing discovery sessions with this. We're doing drafting sessions with it potentially. In done, we don't do any processing in done. When we get into release, that's when this potentially could get gutted to some degree. So I'd have to, because there's a few things going on. I'll just get some drums up. We'll get some different drums. Because we had those ones yesterday, didn't we? Let's see what else we got in the Vapor. I always have Vapor wave phases. Alright, I quite like that. Groove pool. Also like to have my groove on it. Modify these drums a bit. Tell you what, just keep everything the same size, right? So that's the cool thing about this rack, the EXO rack, that release on that hi-hat. I just want to take some of that background ambience off it, so I can just shorten it like that. Anyway, that's some drums. No, this is, for the minute, this channel is a resource to everybody, so questions are great. Pete, you can have a long question if you want. Just a quick off-topic question. I'd be absolutely love to know the answer to plus positive and or negative thoughts. Do you ever use audio to MIDI in order to use your guitar to write synth? No. Never. I have messed with it, but it was like it just annoyed me because the tracking wasn't that good. And that was, mind you, that was a while ago. I haven't looked at sort of that particular technology for a while. In terms of Ableton Live, though, that's obviously got like audio to MIDI. I've never had any luck with that either. It's always quicker just to work the thing out or redo it. But good question. Right. What have we got? Not very warmed up today. That'll do. Right. Where to start? This is jam. Right. Unfortunately, my watch started ringing. Right, there we go. So let's bounce this down. Right. nearly getting the solo done. Where did it go wrong there? Guess from there. That'll have to do. What's happening to my bending rate? One more time. Oh, God. Better check the chat. So I was lost in my own kind of splurgy world there. Alright. Do you find yourself using your stealth guitar over HD and type? Do you find yourself using your new stealth guitar over HD? Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm going to use the Osiris. It's absolutely amazing, for lots of reasons. Like this, it's a lot more comfortable to play. It's like the raw tone finish. I don't like stick to it as much as the HD, which is an amazing guitar. So yeah, definitely the feel of this straight away. But I mean, in terms of like playing, it's like feels very similar to like all the other guitars, really. But it's I mean, the neck particularly is very. It's all about warmth. This guitar, you know, the neck's like really nice to play. Just want to touch it. And of course, I've got this one. I've got the McRocklin pickups in on the push pull, so it's a slightly more aggressive sound than the HD. Right. Oh, thanks, Pete, on the compliment on alternate picking. It's actually hybrid picking. Of like anything to do with a long run isn't alternately picked anymore. It's all economy, because I'm lazy. I'm saying I'm lazy though, but it nearly killed me to learn to use it to be able to do it. But economy picking just makes so like much sense to me. Once now I've got my head round it all. Just using gravity, really, innit? And momentum. So it's great when you get it dialed in. I mean, I'm just trying to focus there on. So I'm just focusing on the sound of the pick and trying to get it to sound dynamically really flat. And I was listening to Guthrie Govan yesterday, and I was noticing like when he goes into super like fast mode, that like his picking, it's like dynamically super flat. But it's brilliant once you get it going because, you know, you can pick all kinds of weird stuff. Stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know if he's got anything against it. I think what it is like one of the kind of advantages you'll get from alternate picking is you'll get more detailed articulation, rhythmically speaking, so you can drop accents where you want. So that's my alternate picking. So I can do more, you know, you can hear that kind of rhythm going on. I can kind of control that more. But I'm a bit out of practice on the alternate front. Whereas economy picking, it's just different. It's a smoother sound. But I think the other thing is that I think one of the things is people tend to think that like when you economy pick, it's that mid-range between alternate picking and legato. It's like a softer sound, and it's just not. I can guarantee, right, I can tear the strings off this guitar, right, with the amount of force I can put into my economy picking. I mean, like, you know. Hi, Harlan. So that's really putting a lot of attack into that pick. But the great thing about it is you can hear it as I'm warming up. It's getting more and more controlled, more and more clear. What was it I was playing the other day? Yeah. Oh, that preset is the on the McRocklin suite. That is my my live go-to shred sound, which is called Alive. Yeah, I mean that's how it starts. I mean, people start. I mean, I started doing the economy picking. I started doing the economy picking because I was just really interested in doing like really awkward pentatonic 2-note per string sequences and like the groups of 5 and stuff like that, which I can't do now. That one. That's what kind of got me started. And that's those mini sort of Joe Bonamassa, Eric Johnson type sweeps that you need when you're doing things like groups of 5. But then a whole world opened up to me because one of the things I was wanting to do is be able to shred like on pentatonic, like I could like 3 notes per string, but also doing 2 notes per string and doing all kinds of crazy sequences. And that's when I came across sort of doing 3-1-3 combinations, which is why I've got all my pentatonic scale voicings like this, which is something that would be quite alien to alternate picking because we've got 3 notes, 1 note, 3, 1, so hence the 3-1-3. But you can use that to like other stuff. Yeah, I mean, I just think of it like as picking, really. Actually, you could think of it like segment type sweeps, you know. But then, you know, you can start combining that with hybrid picking and it really becomes something quite special. And then you got all of this stuff now. Hybrid picking's off a bit today. Hence my table being in the way. So yeah, I just think of it all kind of as one thing, really. And of course, like with the 3-1-3 sort of stuff, you know, it lends itself nicely to legato as well. Takes a bit of work though. I'm still practicing I'm a Viking solo. Almost a year now. Fastest fingers in the West. Who's that? Yingmi, I would imagine. Michelangelo Badio. But yeah, the trick is the planting and the displacement. It's the displacement that's kind of giving me the aggression. I mean, you can almost see it there when I'm doing it. It's I'm pushing the plectrum. It's like all rest strokes and pushing. And it's really weird because the pick just snaps back into a rest stroke. So when you get it going, you can get a really nice, consistent, even sound as well. I mean, that's alternate. So the interesting thing about economy picking is it actually can improve your alternate picking in regards to inside picking strokes. I used to avoid being an inside picker for years, and then sort of doing this economy picking, it forced me to do it. So I'm quite happy with it now. So that's pretty much all alternate picking, and you can see the aggressive angles coming in. And all that's about is stopping. I'm just stopping the pick from getting trapped behind a string, so I can keep this hand smooth. Troy Grady stuff in it. Whenever you feel the awkward, when you're nervous in a guitar shop. When you're like that, I was practicing that for years and I can't do it now. Yeah. And you can just it's great economy picking. You can just apply it to anything. See, imagine an arpeggio like that. You can hear it, all the notes nice and clear, and there's all sorts going on. 1 note, 2 note, 3 notes. Doesn't care. It's the terminator of all picking. The funniest thing in the guitar shop is when staff try to show off before handing you the guitar. It is, isn't it? Oh God, I hate guitar shops. Oh, right, here we go. This is honestly an absolute game changer for me. The only issue is you've inspired me to pick up the guitar and shred, but I've got 9 hours of mind-numbing code to get through before I can do it. Right, well, how many... can you take your guitar to work, Pete? Or if you work from home, have your guitar next to you, and then you can do what I do, is you can do... micro practices. I'm a micro practice expert. And if you want to know more about, I hate to sell my business here, if you want to know more about micro practicing, book in for a lesson. And I can get you up and running. That's kind of how I started. I had to, like, you know, it's like being it's the extreme surfer story, isn't it? You just see this massive tidal wave of like a technique, but actually it is that, but you can't tackle the whole wave, can you? What you find is actually it's quite calm on the crest of the wave, and there's like just like tiny little waves which you can do. Same with guitar. You can break, there's a way of like breaking things down into really small mechanical motions. Micro. Yeah, that's true. Short, intense practice sessions are more productive than, so getting the metronome out and practicing those kind of things. But what I do like to do actually when I can is use a backing track as a metronome and then making a lick out of something I'm practicing, you know, like, something like that. And then practicing like half the tempo, you know. Something like that. Right, any more questions before I go? This has been a great session. I'm really enjoying these guitar sessions. There's some great advice from Chili there. Very important to do all of that. He's about somewhere. What I'll do, Chili, is I'll do a B chug and see if he appears. It's usually that, and those are just two things. No, he hasn't appeared. I don't know. I thought that would work. I thought you'd turn up as a hologram or something. All right, my hands are absolutely freezing. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Tomorrow morning is coaching group. So if you're in the coaching group and you're listening, I'll see you tomorrow morning at the usual time. My morning, probably your like evening or something. And everybody else, I'll see you Thursday. And I think we might be back to 5:30. See you Ice King tomorrow. We're back to 5:30, I think, on Thursday and Friday, possibly. This is working quite well. So we'll just see. We'll see what happens. But I've got to go now, or I could spend all day doing this, to be honest. But I'm losing sight of making music. That's the only thing. All right then. See you Thursday.